G'day guys, Justin here from Gladstone Fly and Sport Fishing. Well, we all know about the Flat Shad X, the Zereks Flat Shad X, and I've been really waiting to get my hands on one model in particular, and that is the 130 Weedless Flat Shad X, particularly in the dark ale. Now, we've just had a bit of a play around with these, and I reckon Zerek have absolutely hit the mark with these, and I'll tell you one reason why. Okay, so we all know we're the biggest fans of the live mullet, particularly the dark ale live mullet and the 5.5. We think for Lake Awonga the sink rate is just spot on, 35 grams, sorry, so it sinks just right. We know we can retrofit them with that top front singer hook, and we miss very limited bites. That bait size, that 5.5 inch, seems to be spot on. It gets majority of the bites. When the bigger baits or smaller baits aren't working, that one seems to always get bites. So anyway, there's no secret to that. The 130 Flat Shad X in the weedless, we think of the weight is spot on. The sink rate is almost identical to the 5.5 inch live mullet. The way the jig head sits inside the plastic itself, it sits in there really snug. There's a little section of weight right in behind the eyes, which holds it there. And the beauty of this thing, it comes out with a jig head that is retrofitted, so you can put stinger hooks on the front like you would with a mullet, like we have there. And you could also put one on the bottom. Now, we've rigged it up with one on the top, and I'll tell you why. The reason why we've done that is so that a lot of the times to get the bite in Awonga, particularly fishing over the top of weed beds and that, you've got to be as tight as you can to the weed. So a lot of the time you're actually ripping the mullet out of the weed or just across the top of the weed, skimming. So by retrofitting this, the Flat Shad X Weedless, with just the top stinger hook, you're going to be able to skim that weed even tighter, keeping that thing weedless, which we think is going to be an absolute advantage. I think these things, with the sink rate almost identical to the mullets, are going to absolutely kick butt. So we cannot wait to get this thing out on the water. It's the first time we've had a play with them. I've just had a play with it in the pool, and it looks sensational. So the other big secret that I guess it's not a big secret, but the thing that's caught a lot of fish for us this year is a 5 or 6 inch weedless plastic. We're throwing it tight and very skinny country. So straight out of the packet, this thing's going to be brilliant. The movement you get out of this thing, plus that thumping tail, that good mix between the live mullet and the flat shad, this thing's going to be awesome. You're going to be able to rip it in amongst the lilies. The water's come up about 2 meters out at Awonga, so it's looking prime. There's going to be so much new country. These fish are going to get super tight in the weed over the next couple of weeks until all that weed and the flooded grasses go sour. So you're going to find some really good fishing in the next couple of weeks tight. And we think this thing's going to kick butt, but also over the top of some of those big weed beds that are now covered with this retrofitted hook like a mullet, this thing is going to kick butt. So look out for that. We're going to be fishing these really hard over the next couple of weeks, but from what I've seen in the pool and the sink rates, I think this thing's going to be dynamite. Flat Shad X Weedless in the one